Core practical involves electrolyzing copper sulfate with copper electrodes. Draw a label diagram to show the apparatus that could be used. But electrolysis needs a direct current, so let's get a pencil and ruler and draw a direct current into our circuit. There we go. Etc, etc. So for this core practical, we often vary the current and see how the mass change of the electrodes changes. So to do that, we're going to need a variable resistor in our circuit. So a variable resistor is a rectangle. It's a rectangle and it has an arrow going through the middle of it. So there we go. There's our variable resistor. And then we'll come down to our electrodes, I think, now, and we put our electrodes, these are going to be our copper electrodes, and we're going to put those into a beaker. Okay, here's our copper electrodes, and there's one of them. There's our other one. And we're going to need to put those into a beaker, and the beaker's going to have to contain an electrolyte. So let's have our beaker down here. There we go, and we're going to need to put our electrolyte in there. Our electrolyte will probably be if these are copper electrodes, we'll make this a copper sulfate electrolyte. There we go, I'll just put a little bit of a curve on the end of those to show the meniscus, but that's not important. Right, and then we're going to need something to measure the current in the circuit, so we measure the current with an ammeter. All right, and there's our perfect diagram for that apparatus. That's not going to get you all the marks though, because the question says draw a labelled diagram, and there's loads of candidates to draw this. It looks brilliant, it's perfect, but it's not going to get them all the marks because it's not labelled, so we now need to label it. Ammeter, a solution of copper ions, Cu2 plus ions, aqueous. So in other words, copper sulfate, a solution of copper sulfate. We're going to have a beaker down here. Can never have enough labels. Copper electrode. Copper electrode. Here we've got a variable. Just to finish these labels, my phone storage filled up halfway through the last video, or towards the end of the last video. I was just writing this was a variable resistor here, and the last label to write would have been a DC power supply at the top, and must have a direct current power supply for electrolysis. All these videos and more on elsham-highchemistry.com.